Kanina na yun nag-drive mo yung TV mo.
I had to be home for 8 o'clock, but I let them sit there, and I went down this morning.
Right, lads, enjoy. Here's the other. Right, walk.
London Derry on the board! just thank you all for coming today. I realise, especially for the band, rather depleted because all the young fellas have got the football teams and so on. But nevertheless, a good turnout from the band, and we certainly appreciate the Ulster First Flute who have been very loyal to the people of Sandy Road. I'm reminded the Sandy Row, Safe Sandy Row rallies in the 1970s. Although they were very vocal and very determined people, Harry Fletcher and people like that were involved, Hector McMillan and so on. Some of the older people here might know what I'm talking about. And they fought hard for Sandy Row. But even though this was a well-populated area at the time, it still should have been thousands out, never mind hundreds. But it's always been the way for Protestantism and loyalism for the few, and it's always been the few. And I believe it was one person came out this morning, put the sign up, and that just shows the determination. I want to make something absolutely clear to you. I've no doubt about it. We would have won this a long time ago if we had got the support of our political representatives. But we have never had any support from our MLAs to support the Boy Bridge. Now, we've all got our opinions and views on why this has not happened. I'm not going to repeat some of the things I see on Facebook and what I've been told personally. But the thing is, if there's anybody or any group that's prepared to sell their heritage out, you're a disgrace. And I want to say to you, if there's any here today who's associated with that treachery, you're associated with that treachery, remember, 2 World Wars, thousands of men came from the South Belfast area and Sandy Row. And the only sacrifices that we make now are nothing compared with the sacrifices of the men who went into the trenches and were wiped out. I'm even looking across the Charles Street South, the number of men there who gave their lives for the crown, the king. What are we asking for today in sacrifice? Let me tell you this. Money, the love of money, is the root of all evil, and there's a lot of people who sell their granny. But there's always been a few that will take a stand. Now, I'm glad that the pressure that we put on, especially the 1st of November rally, which was fantastic, there was well over 200 people at that rally, and we made it quite clear that the demolition of the bridge is not by the support of the Sandy Road people. Now, the DUP had put forward a motion for Monday's council meeting to look at ways in which the bridge can be retained, and that's because businesses are suffering and will suffer and possibly even close. Now, that's good that the DUP done that, but is it not strange that only days before that motion was put to the council, will be put to the council, only days, that the bulldozers come out, the diggers come out on that bridge and started to rip up the roadway? Is that not strange? Now, we can still win this. We can still win this. But we need political clout. We need political support. And if we don't get that political support within the next few days, if we don't get that, that bridge will come down. Now, if the bridge comes down, along the way and battling for that bridge, we have won a few things. We're not going to emphasise those few things. We'll emphasise it maybe at a later date, because our focus has not been on winning this wee bit and winning that wee bit. and getting that concession and getting another concession. Our focus has been on the 1936 bridge. Now, a lot of people are not aware of the history. You don't have to be. I was brought up in Sandy Row. I went to the Coliseum, right? Like most of us. We came over the bridge thinking we were one of the cowboys, remember? Charging over the bridge. And the bridge was our icon of Sandy Row. It was a gateway into Sandy Row. We didn't have to know the history of the bridge. It was just the icon of Sandy Row. So you don't need to have, these smart alecks who come and tell you that you have to be educated. Well, you do have to be educated, but it's not necessary to appreciate the icon of the Boyne Bridge. So I think I've said enough, and I appreciate you coming. And I would ask, for those who are able, if you join the parade, if you walk two at a time, two abreast, and we'll get to the City Hall, and we're going to have a couple of speeches there. And by the way, the Ulster Scots will be there in the area with their kilts and all the rest of it. So you, if you have a, and then you can go to the market and have some feed, right? But again, a big thank you to the Ulster First Fruit. Can we give a round of applause, please?
hold it for you till you're right. Like hold it you.
Take it off for a second if you want to need a break.
Everybody that's here today for the protest, thank you for coming first of all, but if you could just move in a wee bit tighter so that we're not obstructing people getting into the market or being on the road. I'd like to thank the Ulster First Blood Band as well. Thank you very much for supporting them today. Have a great one, mate. Could I just please ask everybody to come into the wee circle, come in tight, we'll get to know each other, get more intimate. And then we won't have to turn this speaker up so loud so that we're just... Before I hand over the speakers, I think I spoke enough at Swanley Road, but the flag protesters are here every Saturday between 1 o'clock and 2. So we're going to for a free Saturday rather than riot off on the walk. Our numbers have been rather than depleted, with death and one thing and another. So after that long speech in Swanley Road, I'm going to take a break and hand over the few of our speakers. And they will introduce themselves. John, you're going to be first. Mark.
Hello there. Although this is the 12th anniversary of the flag protest, there's a lot more issues to talk about generally than just the flag. But even the flag itself, the flag issue hasn't gone away. There's new flag issues. The latest one is the Northern Ireland flag, the Ulster banner, Commonwealth. We didn't see that coming, but it just shows you what somebody that is up to mischief intends, because they've got a little bit of power within the Northern Ireland Commonwealth Games. But I want to talk more generally about issues within loyalist areas. Now, I live in Sandy Row, and Sandy Row, you've probably heard the story about the bridge, and even yesterday they moved diggers in with tango hammers to try to start taking down the bridge. But the issues within Sandy Row are far, far bigger than the Boyne Bridge. The Boyne Bridge is only symptomatic. You hear a lot of people saying that the Boyne Bridge, they've suddenly become interested because they're local elected representatives in trying to protect the bridge. Yet, whenever you go on the website to do with the transport hub, the new Belfast Grand Central, which is a wonderful station, I may add, you'll see that it says that it was an executive office-led project. What that means is the office of the First Minister and Deputy First Minister were the ones leading the project. Now, that has been directed by the very, very top of our Stormont government. I heard a story that one of the former MPs of South Belfast, who also happened to be a special advisor, was at an American consulate garden party, and she said, "What time is it?" And what she meant by that was, has the time lapsed for court action to be taken against protecting the Boyne Bridge? And she was actually happy that that was the case. Now, she would, in her role as a special advisor, probably had something to do with the office, the executive office, directing what happened on the Boyne Bridge. But the area itself, since the bridge has been closed, has been severed. So you've got the Grosvenor Road area and Sandy Road cannot easily get to each other. So therefore, a lot of businesses have lost trade. So what that means is trade is down about 40%. And here on Monday, I believe it is, there's going to be a delegation in perhaps at the council, but there's certainly a motion in talking about the issues in Sandy Row. So traders cannot get traffic through. What that means is there's no passing traffic to stop and make purchases. So little shops, and Sandy Road doesn't really have big shops, are all losing business. As I said, up to 40%. So what we would be calling for is that traders can get traffic in from this, if you're coming from this side to Hope Street, turn in at that end, so that traffic flow through Sandy Road is two-way, and also free parking for traders as well, so that businesses can get back on their feet. Now, it's not just Sandy Road that has suffered. Our council just recently closed an Irish language consultation. They want to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on every bin and every uniform, and whether you go into council, they're prepared to talk to you in Irish. Money should be better spent in local communities, helping people keep their heads above water instead of wasting money on things that are unnecessary. Because nobody in this country speaks only Irish. They all know English. So we need to be careful about what we spend our money on. I'm now going to pass the microphone on to a John here, and he's going to talk about some other issues.
Hi everyone, just on the points that Mark raised, obviously there's other things going on in the background, and it's not just the flags and the one bridge. There's actually a vote due to be happening in Stormont before the end of the year. It's called the Democratic Consent Mechanism. This is a vote by the Northern Ireland Assembly on whether to continue with Articles 5 to 10 of the Winter Framework, and if they should continue to apply. These are the parts of the framework under the Northern Ireland regulations relating to the EU single market. Like I say, the first vote is to be held before the end of 2024, 4 years after the end of the transition period. The motion of the continuations of Articles 5 to 10 should be proposed by the First Minister and Deputy First Minister by tomorrow, 1st of December. If this does not happen, then the motion can be tabled by any member of the Legislative Assembly. If the Assembly votes against the motion, Articles 5 to 10 shall stop applying after 2 years. So that means even if we decide in the vote before the end of the year that we don't want to continue with it, it still will apply for 2 years afterwards. Exactly what would happen in this case is uncertain. The EU and UK Joint Committee will make recommendations to the EU and the UK on the necessary measures, taking into account the obligations of the parties to the 1998 agreement. And before doing so, the Joint Committee may seek an opinion from the institutions created by the 1998 agreement. Folks, this is the same agreement that was used against us to bring the Northern Ireland Protocol in the first place. If the motion is passed by a majority of MLAs, the next vote will be held 4 years later. If the motion is passed by a majority of MLAs and has cross-community consent, we're stuck with it for the next 8 years. So key dates coming down the tracks before now and the end of the year. 31st of October, the Secretary of State had to initiate the process, and this is now being done. And like I said, the 1st of December, tomorrow, the Joint First Ministers may table a motion of democratic consent. If this is not done, then a member of the Assembly may table a motion on the democratic consent by next Saturday, the 7th of December. By Tuesday, the 17th of December, the motion is tabled that Articles 5 to 10 should continue. That's the movement of goods, VAT, excise, customs, single electricity market and state aid. The continuation of these will push forward even more divergence of trade when we continue to follow at the minute over 300 areas of EU law with the aim of creating an economic United Ireland. That's the bottom line, folks. This is all about a United Ireland. Because what happens whenever we're following the 300 areas of law? It's the exact same 300 areas of law that the Irish Republic follow. Therefore, we're an all-in economy economically. The Assembly debates and votes on the motion, and the Speaker notifies the Secretary of State of the process by Friday the 27th of December. Then the Secretary of State must notify the EU of the outcome by Tuesday the 31st of December. Folks, if you remember that we were all promised the best of both worlds, this hasn't materialised as suggested by those promoting the Northern Ireland Protocol Winter Framework. For billions of pounds worth of investment from America and the EU, maybe it's because our manufacturing industry needs to get all their goods from GB, and that's where the major issue is. It's actually custom controls which is to bed up our country and getting stuff from Great Britain into Northern Ireland. We were also promised that there would be no paperwork, no customs checks, and all this would be all free to trade. It hasn't happened. This is not an orange and green issue. This will affect every citizen in Northern Ireland, especially when the full customs controls come into force on the 31st of March next year. Hopefully Stormont MLA see sense and vote against the continuation of Articles 5 to 10. 8 years after Brexit and with the Protocol Winter Framework having been in place, the polls today still show that the majority of people in Northern Ireland wish to remain part of the United Kingdom. So let's make this happen and restore Northern Ireland's place back where it belongs. I'll now pass over to John Ross, who will go into more detail on the customs stuff.
I'm not going to go into an awful lot more detail in anything, and I'm not going to keep you very long. If we take nothing away from here today, what we need to take away is that our culture, our identity, everything that we believe in is being eroded, and it is being relentlessly eroded by a Republican Green agenda that is being facilitated in many ways by the British government, but more so by the ineptitude and the inaction of those that we put our trust in at the ballot box. There's no mainstream unionist representative here today. They know full well that people are going to be here, but they're not interested. They're more interested in going and jigging with the Irish Republican dancers or playing daily games or whatever they do. Or as they did 2 weeks ago tomorrow, they traipsed through the grounds of that City Hall, promenading with the Republican terrorist eulogizer, Michelle O'Neill. They tromped on the graves of the names of the crosses that were in that Garden of Remembrance, and the Unionists supported it. Sammy Wilson said it was right that she was there. This is a woman who said there was no alternative than murdering men, women and children whose crosses and names were remembered there 2 weeks ago. Remembrance is very personal for me, and I know it's very personal for other people. And to have an IRA sympathiser who in a couple of months' time will be on a platform at an Easter uprising, glorifying the very terrorists that caused so much misery in this country, it was disgusting. Our culture, as I say, is being eroded. It started way back. Who remembers the Jerry Adams? Equality is a Trojan horse. Equality is a Trojan horse. And that, my friends, has been true ever since. It started with parades at Gervaki Road, the Ormer Road, where they protested, where they didn't allow. Gervaki Road is a church parade returning home. That became offensive to them. And they stopped. They stopped the parades, and they still work against them. And the Quango Parades Commission is there to support them. It does not support it, never puts any restrictions whatsoever on Republican activity. We then had the culture attack on bonfires. Bonfires, what bonfires in the area? What harm do they do for anybody? And I remember in East Belfast a few years back, 106 police Land Rovers escorted in masked contractors with 40-foot trailers, and they lifted 2 bonfires in East Belfast, one up at Conswater and the other at Clune Place. Recently we've seen the hate messages supporting Palestine on the wall at the Royal Victoria Hospital, and the authorities and these people in here said we can't get any contractors to remove it. Nobody will remove it. We can't get them. Yet withal, they could get 40-foot trailers and 106 police Land Rovers to remove orange culture. in East Belfast. We now, and Mark mentioned it, the Ulster banner that has been the representative flag for sport in Northern Ireland since our inception, where people of all religions have worked their sport, carried out their sport and activity under that banner. And we think of some great ones who would come from the other side of the religious divide, but this is not about religion. People like Rory McIlroy, who proudly play with the Union, the Ulster banner. But now we have Republicans who have worked their way into the top. And when they get into any position of authority, any at all, then they attack our culture. And it's obvious, people can see it for themselves. They don't have to listen to John Ross here at the front of the City Hall saying it. They attack our culture, and it is relentless. And whilst they're attacking our culture, they're promoting the Greek culture, and they're turning this city and they're turning Northern Ireland green. That's their intention. 15% of the people, I don't know where you live, I know where I live, there's probably a mixed area. 15% of the people there can have an Irish language sign put at the corner of my street. I don't want it there. It's an imposition that I don't want, but it's an imposition that we can't fight within the regulations that they have imposed on us. And if you do anything about it, it's a hate crime. How can it be hateful to want something or not want something at the corner of your street? Something that is imposing the identity of others, because that's what it's all about. So if we take away nothing from here today, always be aware that we're constantly under attack. Always be aware that our mainstream political representatives are allowing it to happen. They're doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. They'll tell us lies. They told us at the beginning of the year that the Northern Ireland Protocol had gone. The sea border had gone. There'd be no checks. They then admitted, after Mr. Donaldson had his ignominious departure, they then admitted, their new leader, that they oversold the deal. They oversold it. Well, if you buy a car from a second-hand car dealer and it's a dud car and you take it back, and he says, oh, I'm sorry, oversold it, you'll never buy another car from him, ever. So don't listen to the lies that we're being told. The protocol is still there, the deal was a dud, and as Mark pointed out, or John pointed out, come March, it will become more and more apparent to people when these sea border posts are opened, when you can't get goods from GB, they won't send them because of all the problems that they will have, and we will be forced to converge more with the EU whilst we diverge further from GB. And that is the iniquitous plan of the protocol in the Westminster framework. So along with the iniquitous plan of the Belfast Agreement that we all agreed to, I didn't, but we all agreed to in 1998, when we were promised cross-community support agreement on everything. Well, next week at Stormont, for the first time since 1972, there's going to be a vote, and it's not cross-community agreement. It is majority agreement for the first time in 1972. As soon as they got unionism into a position where they could outvote them with the aid of alliance, they then reverted against the so-called Belfast Agreement. They reverted the majority vote, and we will suffer as a result of that. So stay awake, people. That's what we need to do. We're sleepwalking into this United Ireland. We're allowing ourselves, the fact that we haven't got a unionist representative here today, we're allowing ourselves to be led into a United Ireland, and our unionist politicians are busy feathering their own nests. That's what they're doing. Seats in the House of Lords, knighthoods, damehoods, OBEs. Look at how many the DUP have collected since 2007. Since 2007, it's just been one award after the other. It's not for their services to unionism, because everything in unionism has been eroded. Republicanism has been in the ascendancy since the DUP brought them into power in 2007, after secretly negotiating with them for 2 years, which they denied. So please, stay awake, stay alert, stay on top of what's going on, because if we don't, we will sleepwalk into the United Ireland. Thank you. Well, there was an awful lot in those three speeches, and some people may have heard things for the first time. I'm not going to make a speech. I already said or spoke at Sandy Row. I think that's sufficient. But I just want to emphasise the fact that when you surrender vital aspects of our British culture, they're gone forever. Probably gone forever. And we've seen the erosion of that. And the reason why there's a flag protest here every Saturday, even though now there's very few come along, but nevertheless the protest continues, is because we feel that the Union flag is important. It represents what we stand for. And apart from the statutory days, you look round and the Union flag would be absent. Just a bare flagpole has gone. And that was that's a symbol of our identity. It's a symbol that tells visitors that this is part of the United Kingdom under British rule. And I just want to thank very sincerely the few, and I mean the few, who come along every Saturday, regardless of the weather, stand here, bucketing as we would say, sunshine, the lot, and they stand here every Saturday between 1 o'clock and 2 because the flag's important. It's what it stands for. Some people say it's only a cloth. It's what it stands for. You know, at the start, there were maybe hundreds, maybe thousands, and protesting about the absence of the flag was taken down. And they were here in large numbers. And then at that time there was a dual policing, political policing, in which our members here were harassed by certain elements of the police. I'm glad to say that from those early days, relationships with the police in the city centre have been good, and we work with them. But in those days, there was definitely political policing. And at one particular rally, an elderly man, and one of my members, in fact it's coming up the anniversary now, an elderly man took a heart attack. What was he doing? Apparently he was walking on the road. There was no room in the footpath. And he was taken by the police and he had a heart attack and died. You know, it's an absolute disgrace. But as the months went by, the years went by, the numbers dropped. The resolution then was that the flag must go up. And you know, if we had battled on with the large numbers, okay, I know young people especially have been arrested. I was getting something on their record for the rest of their lives. I understand all that. But we as a people, unionist people, give up too easily. Well, we haven't given up. After 12 years, we haven't given up. So I want you to come along if you're free any Saturday and support us. So finally, I'll just say again, for those who were in Sandy Row, there was a larger number there in Sandy Row. They weren't able to parade to the city centre, but all those who came out in Sandy Row. Oh, I could just quickly mention that the Boyne Bridge, the DUP had a motion on Monday coming to try and see if there's any way in which the Boyne Bridge can be saved, because they realised that the trainers were suffering. Now, it's very suspicious, isn't it, that only a matter of days before that motion was to go to the council, only a matter of days before that motion was going to the council, that diggers suddenly appeared on the Boyne Bridge and smashed down into the roadway. And no doubt they'll probably do more before Monday night's meeting. But I would ask the councillors And if you know any councillors, especially if EPP ones, to go ahead with the motion. Because the bridge, the work on the bridge should stop. The damage should be assessed and then look at ways in which it can be repaired and opened again. Now you may say, oh, they're not going to do that. Because that's a defeatist attitude. As I emphasise it again, that's a defeatist attitude. We shouldn't have that defeatist attitude. We should have our MLAs, our councillors, our people saying the bridge has to stay. But well, there will be that resolution on Monday night. It's up to you. You know councillors, you know MLAs, vote them. Oh, by the way, I'm quite aware, people vote me. Oh, I have emailed my MLA 3 times and they haven't acknowledged me. Well, I'm sorry to say that is the norm. That is the norm. But come the next election, don't forget, come the next election, if that bridge, and I'm saying this, and I don't want to be political at this meeting here today, but if that bridge goes, Mr. Poots should go. And that's the way I see it. If the bridge goes in Sunday Road, Mr. Poots should go. And not only Mr. Poots, others as well. So, I'm not going to take any more of your time. I'd like to thank the speakers again, thank everyone for coming. And in a Sunday Road man, brought up in Sunday Road, our cry is still the same and will always be the same. And that is, no